Rabbi Paltiel, please.
Chaim, Chaim, Shalom Aleichem. We're all saying Chaim. Chaim.
Chaim Uvracha.
The Rebbe taught us many things, and one is that when you meet other Jews, you're meeting brothers and sisters, so I feel right at home. This is family. Just going to say a few words to open it, and I understand that they're going to have a main course. But so, just to address the occasion tonight, one could argue that it's a very serious day. The Rebbe passed away on this day. And in a lot of ways, there's no sadder day. And yet, custom is, we get together, we're having a feast, we have music, we're celebrating, we're having l'chaim. I mean, by Chassidim, everything becomes happy. Even the way we do Tisha B'Av, we do it with positivity. There's no room for melancholy in Judaism from the Chassidic perspective. But I want to make the point that sometimes something that's intense and serious and important is not in conflict with happiness. In fact, they go hand in hand. So, some years back, I was invited by a shliach in Montreal to come out. It was Yutes Kislev, the New Year of Chassidus, also a very important day. And there was a beautiful event, and just like here, full of people and food. And there was one fellow there who was dancing. They had dancing, maybe we'll finish tonight with dancing, with such joy, like he was like elated more than everybody else in the room. At the end of the night, most people went home, and we had like a late night farbrengen, and then maybe 15 people stayed around the table. And we sat and we talked, and finally around 2 in the morning, I said to them, I want you to tell me what brought you to Yiddishkeit. I mean, these are people who grew up mostly in secular homes, Montreal, Canada. And what brought you? And each one had another story. I went to college campus, there was no way to eat, the rabbi invited me home, the wife made good cholent, somebody else was the Tanya class, somebody else was just a friendship. You know what I mean? There's different reasons why people come. And everyone gave their little story. And then right across from me is sitting this guy who just spent the last 2 hours dancing like it's his own wedding. And I saw that he is like a complete card-carrying Chabadnik. Most of the room were not wearing black hats and shadels, but this guy was dressed up with the Yud Tes Kislev uniform like it's his Yontif. Young guy, maybe he was 30. And like you could see that he, you know what I mean, he's all the way. So it came his turn. I said, tell me what brought you to Hashem, to mitzvahs, to the Rebbe, whichever way you want. And he looks at me and a little tear comes into his eye and he says, the Rebbe. So I made a quick calculation that there's no way that he saw the Rebbe before the Rebbe's passing unless he was like 10. I said, you mean the videos? I said, no, the Rebbe. I said, maybe you mean the Ohel, the gravesite. No, the Rebbe. And he said, I'm going to tell you a story. There's about 15 guys by the table. They all know him, but they never heard the story. But Yutes Kislev at night, after some l'chaims, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, he opened up, he told the following story. He said, I was a 12-year-old kid in a Jewish youth group in Texas, where I grew up. A Jewish youth group, nothing to do with mitzvahs and Torah, nothing. Pro-Israel, but that's it. No religious aspect to it, very secular. He said the year-end trip was to New York, October time, whatever it is, after the season or what have you. And we were all excited. We took a trip to New York. And we visited Manhattan, the Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, the Twin Towers, Oliver Shalom, you know what I mean? The whole thing, New York scene. And they told us that we have luck, that it's Simchas Torah. These are kids who didn't know what Simchas Torah means really, but they were told that it's Simchas Torah night, the Rebbe, in 770, there's a big Simcha, and they were told if you really want to have a great time, you want to go there. So they all voted to do it, and all these kids, you know, pulled out their kippot. How old? 12-year-old kids. This was 1992. And they all showed up in 770. This was the night after Simchat Torah when the Rebbe would stand for a few hours and pour wine, kol shel bracha, into people's cups. So we show up. He describes for the room that, you know, there were people on bleachers on all sides, and they would sing, and the Rebbe would go like this, the whole place would jump. He said it was like a Jewish Super Bowl. It was unbelievable, the energy of the room, everything. And then he says, somebody said, do you want to meet the Rebbe? There's thousands of people in the room. They're lining up to get l'chaim. So they said, yeah, why not? These kids were in for a thrill. They all came with cameras. So they put them on a fast track line to go get from the Rebbe the kol shel bracha. The Rebbe would pour into your cup one by one for 4 hours or whatever it was, to each person, a little bit of wine, look you in the eye. And all the kids are having fun, but obviously this guy was a mature kid. He's 12 years old. And as the line is moving quickly and he sees the Rebbe in the front, an old man, he's 89 years old, he realized this has got to be the chief rabbi of like the whole world. And he's thinking to himself, like, why is he going to meet with me? He figured out that in his temple back in Texas, he never met the head rabbi of the temple. Because if he had to meet somebody, he met the assistant rabbi or the third rabbi. And here, the chief rabbi, because he showed up, is going to meet him. He was fascinated by it. He was taken by it. The line is moving quick. And before much thought, he's right in front of the Rebbe, face to face. And then at this point in the story, ladies and gentlemen, he puts his hand in his pocket, pulls out a little picture where you see the Rebbe pouring a cup of wine into his cup. He's a little kid at the time, a little kippah sruga, whatever he had, a little leather yarmulke folded on the top. And the eye contact between the two of them is precious. The eye contact is like a father and a son, and more so. And then he turns to the table and he says, the Rebbe looked at me for 5 seconds. And I said to myself, why is this rabbi taking me so seriously? No one ever did. And he walked away. He said, that's the beginning of the rest of my life. I knew I'm going to find out who this rabbi is and what he's about. This is October 92. 4 months later, the Rebbe had a stroke. Unfortunately, never saw the Rebbe again physically, but he said that was the beginning of his journey. And the conversation around the table was, which I want to bring to the table here tonight. This is a guy who looked into the eyes of the Rebbe and he realized, life is serious. I take you seriously. Your life matters. The greatest thing we want in life is to matter. That's really all we want. That's the cause of joy and contentment and peace of mind. We want to know we matter. We're not just a blimp on the radar of history. And here he looked into the eyes of the chief rabbi of the world, and the Rebbe looks at him and he sees he's taking him serious, like he's meeting with the head of, I don't know, NASA, who knows what. And then we had a conversation, and I said, did you see how he danced? And that's the point I want to make here tonight. Joy, people think joy comes from frivolity. Nothing matters, let's party. There is such a joy too, but that's not real joy. Real joy is when a person feels fulfilled. It's serious. God takes me serious. The Rebbe takes me serious. My life matters. It's meaningful. It matters, and therefore the joy is real. You know, I'm a Chabad rabbi, just like Rabbi Zaltzman, out on Long Island. But I don't have to tell you how special your rabbi is. But whenever I see him, we just spent Shabbat together at the Yohel. There's 5,000 rabbis, but he stood out. He stood out.
I kissed you, what happened?
Yes.
I hugged you.
You hugged me and you kissed me. And
Only rabbi that hugged you?
No, but one of them, just a few. But he came with an energy. There's an energy, the Rebbe's energy and simcha. So I have a Chabad house in a place called Port Washington, Long Island. It's next to Great Neck. And there's about 50 Chabad houses now on Long Island. Chabad is everywhere. It's out of control, by the way. It's like Starbucks. Wherever you go, there's 2 Chabads, one on this corner and one on that corner.
The thing is, Chase, Manhattan, sometimes they close, but we don't close.
Exactly.
Chabad doesn't close.
We open another branch. Somebody said, why are Chabads growing like this? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Organized religion is out. I don't know if you noticed. You know, the Pew Jewish Population Survey of 2020 figured out that most of the denominations of Judaism are declining and folding and merging because organized religion of any faith is just not a thing anymore. People don't like to be told what to do. People don't like to be threatened and promised reward in another world. It's not a thing, really. It's not happening. And in Judaism, it's that way as well, even more so. And yet, while so many denominations are crumbling, Chabad is like out of control. They showed a study that 38% of American Jews attend Chabad in some fashion that throughout the year. That's more than all denominations combined. So why is that? People have asked me this question, and I sit there and he said, organized religion is out and Chabad is in. I said, go into a bookstore, ask for a book on religion. They'll probably have to call the manager to check in the back. Go into a bookstore and ask for a book on self-help. It's right all over the register. You got a smorgasbord of choices.
The pharmacies.
The Rebbe's message is, the Chabad message, the Hasidic message really from the Baal Shem Tov and on, that this is our own betterment. This is what brings us joy and contentment and positivity, and that's why it's out of control and it grows. And I want to just give one more thought, a quick story before we serve dinner. So we have like 40 or 50 Chabads on Long Island, and about 15 to 20 years ago, the first Chabad Shliach, our head Shaliach, Chabad is very much like a hierarchy, and there's like a, it's a whole system. It's like a franchise system. So the head Shaliach of Long Island, his name is Rabbi Tuvia. He was making the wedding of his oldest child. This was the first Long Island Shaliach wedding. We were all excited. It was a big deal. We all came. And it was in Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Maybe 500 people. Half the room card-carrying Chabadniks with shadels and hats. And half the room, Long Island Jews with kippahs. And doilies, no. So, and it was a fantastic night. But I'm sharing you with this story. You hear this? So we all came, we were so excited for our Shaliach. I'm standing there, if you ever went to a Chabad wedding, anybody here attend a Chabad, like a bona fide Brooklyn Chabad wedding? Some of you? It's an experience, it's like going to a Broadway show. Okay, so during the chuppah, it's very intense. When the groom covers the bride, people are crying. Under the chuppah, it's intense, people are wiping their tears. The heavens are open, it's a very big deal. So I'm standing in earshot of a couple from Long Island, and the wife says to the husband, honey, I never saw such a serious wedding. Like it wasn't a compliment, like, hello, can't they chill a little? It's our wedding, come on, relax. I didn't say nothing, I didn't know the people. Fast forward 4 hours later, the dance floor, and everybody's sweating and loving it. There's a mechitza, nobody's looking at the other guy's wife, and everybody's just dancing with real sheer joy of a mitzvah and of Yiddishkeit. And then there's a break for the main course, just like we're going to have in a second. I'm standing next to the mechitza, just watching, and that same couple shows up by the mechitza, and the wife says to the husband, honey, I never saw such a happy wedding in my life. I turned around, I said, I'm sorry to intervene here, but I heard both conversations. I want to suggest that they're two halves of the same coin. You see, if a wedding is not serious, we don't understand there's a God element, the two souls are coming together, this is your purpose in life, whatever you try, you see what happens. Yeah, nisht. And it's not so serious, and it's not so happy, it's parav. You know what means parav? Nishtaher, nishtahin. But if it's very serious, we understand this is the day when the two halves of the soul come together to live the rest of their lives, to become one unit. Almighty God created them for a purpose that no one else can accomplish. This is pivotal for the vast eternal plan, yada, 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 yada. It's extraordinarily serious when you stand under that chuppah. And by the same token, the joy is limitless. So I want to say to you friends, my new friends, and we're friends for life because we're Yidden, we're one mishpucha. We're one mishpucha. I was asked by a Reform rabbi in my community, my son is opening a division nearby, and he's renting space for the Reform temple. And the Reform rabbi asked me, Rabbi, how do you feel, an Orthodox Jew living in Port Washington where there's nobody Orthodox? Do you feel uncomfortable? And I said, the Rebbe taught me, and I was looking for a nice way to say this, I look at Jews the way Hamas does. They're all the same. They're all the same. We are all mishpacha. We're all in this together. It's Gimel Tammuz. It's a very serious day. In a lot of ways, it's a sad day. But the joy is real because we have a Rebbe. God gave us this great soul. We're going to celebrate his life. We're going to celebrate his legacy. We're going to celebrate the fact that we're all here together only thanks to him. If not for the Rebbe, both Rabbi Zaltzman and I would probably be trying to sell diamonds on the Lower East Side or something.
Jay Freeze said a few times, there he is, he lives in this neighborhood for how long?
A long time.
A long time. He tells a rabbi, if not for your work, this place will be an apartment building. Said it a few times. So friends, if not for the Rebbe's inspiration to go out there and touch the souls of Jews, this place probably be a permanent building.
And if not for the Rebbe, you and I would be cleaning up the apartments. Okay. Let's say a l'chaim, it's special. It's special. You know, I'm a chassid, just like Rabbi Zaltzman. I always think I was talking to my community last Shabbat, not this one where I was at, but the prior one. I said, you know, what's special to me about this day? I have a Rebbe, he gave me a life, etc. But I said, perhaps more than anything else, he introduced me to you. And I know Rabbi Zaltzman feels the same way. The Rebbe taught us the beauty of a Yid. The rabbi met me at the oil today. He said, you know, you're going to have an interesting crowd. It's all types. But they're all one type. They're Yidden. That's the beauty what the Rebbe gave us. So let's lift our cups. Let's fill our cups. Don't lift empty cups. No. And let's say l'chaim. We should feel the intensity of the day, the power of the day, and at the same time, the joy of the day. L'chaim, and God should fulfill all our desires, physically, spiritually, emotionally, familially, whatever we need and want. This is a day for tremendous blessings. And when you say l'chaim, have in mind and wish each other and yourself. L'chaim, l'chaim.
Everybody, please, l'chaim l'bracha.
Could I get the ginger ale? I thought it'd be. Thank you very much.
עם אחד ולב אחד.
Lem echad.
Thank you for such a speech.
Thank you very much. Hi, la da da da.